Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, or even if you just want to outsmart me on something I said, go ahead, shoot me a call, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your tape back on our next episode. Now, look, man, the playoffs is here. The New York Knicks, they got a chance to close out the series against the Philadelphia 76ers tonight in Game 4. Man, this is going to be an incredible game, and this is huge for the Knicks fans because this will be the first Knicks playoff series win at home in over a decade, which is insane. I'm hoping the Knicks pull this out, man, because this has been a starving franchise, and seeing all the clips and all the videos of Knicks fans wilding out after each win, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's mad entertaining. It is mad entertaining. So tonight in Game 4, I'm truthfully expecting it to be a party in New York City tonight. The club is gonna be going up on a Tuesday because the Knicks, man, that is a tough team right there. Those guys are tough, and they play like they got something to prove on a nightly basis every time they step on the floor. They're not necessarily overwhelming in three-point shooting or overwhelming on going to the paint, outscoring you, making mid-range jump shots. They don't really overwhelm you in any offensive sense, but they're just an average team that's physical, they're tough, and they're quick. And this is what's ultimately giving them a huge edge over Philly because they got 5 people running to the ball every time it's a loose ball. They got 5 people crashing the glass whenever there's another opportunity because whatever they lack in skill on the offensive end or the passing ability, people who are out of shape and size and all of these different things that you add into the game and factor in against the 76ers, they make up for it by being tenacious. They're determined every time they're on the floor. They get 5 people, they got 5 people on the team averaging more than 5 rebounds right now, and 2 of those guys are guards. So that tells me right there's more intention about getting extra opportunities if you're the New York Knicks right now, because even in all 4 games of this series, the Knicks, they grab more offensive rebounds than the 76ers. This is straight testimony to them being scrappy. They're fighting for the ball every chance they get. We seen, I think it was Game 2 in New York, how it was just madness at the end of the game. The Knicks literally won that game because they were scrappy. They were tough. They battled. They pushed. They shoved. They elbowed a little bit. It was all clean stuff, but they were just fighting hard, man. And the 76ers in this series, it's just clear and it's evident that they have more talent on the roster. You can see that, but they're just getting outplayed by a team who's simply punching them in the mouth and giving them their all. Because looking at this, and when you go skill for skill or skill set for skill set at each position and guys on the bench, Philadelphia wins that matchup each time. In the regular season, I'm putting bread on Philadelphia to win this game, but this is the playoffs, and you can clearly see that the 76ers are giving their all out here. And the last thing, too, I'll say about the 76ers is it's clear that Joel Embiid is out of shape. Now, look, we know he's coming back from injury. That's a thing. It takes time to get in shape. But it's in his body language. And this is why I think we see Joel Embiid making so many dirty plays or quote-unquote dirty plays that people are calling it because he's out of shape. He doesn't know what else to do when he can't grab the rebound. He's looking to grab an extra leg or just do something that can help his team out without giving maximum effort. And it's hurting him. It's hurting him. I don't know. It's hurting him on hustle plays, I should say. So the biggest difference maker tonight in Game 5 for the Knicks will be that the forward Bojan Bogdanovic, he's going to miss the remainder of the season due to a foot injury he suffered in Game 3. But other than it, man, I got the Knicks winning this game. And the 76ers, they've just been getting punched in the mouth by a physical team. And the fans, they even losing this battle too, because it was overwhelming in Philadelphia for game 4. The Knicks fans took that arena over. It was crazy to watch because I'm like, this is a home game, but literally it was more Knicks fans in there than the 76ers fans. So crazy. It was crazy. But anyway, look, I got something too. Let's finish out with this. Last game in Philly, the Knicks fans, as I mentioned, they were there. They came fully loaded. They were all there, and they ended up winning that game. So the Knicks fans, they had a little chant going on for Joel Embiid and the 76ers. This is what the boys was talking about right here. And here's the Knicks head coach Tom Thibodeau on that latest win.
And we have a little bit of everything. We got, the rebounding has been terrific. Everyone questioned the rebounding with Josh at the power forward. We've been the best rebounding team all year. Everyone questioned Jalen, being a leader. And, so we got a lot to prove. And we still, it takes 4 to win a series, and that's what we got to focus on.
All right, look, man, we got a side note here. The Denver Nuggets, they'll be taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves in the semi-conference finals. And I'm not sure if I have my pick yet. And the Denver Nuggets, they beat the Lakers 4-1, which was also a great series to watch. But 2 dominant teams in the Western Conference are going to be battling it out. And they match up fairly well. You have the Timberwolves, who are a top 5 defensive team. They've been top 5 in defense all season, so we know what they're going to do. We've seen how they locked up those great scorers in Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, including Bradley Beal as well. They played tremendous defense against them. Had McDaniels there, Anthony Edwards, who's extremely talented at that shooting guard position, played great. And then you had Rudy Gobert down low. So it'll be tough. And my only concern here about this Nuggets and Minnesota Timberwolves matchup is that Denver, in that series against the Lakers, they didn't necessarily look unbeatable. They just knew how to close out games so much better than the Lakers did in any of those games. Obviously, Lakers, they had a lead in the first half of just about every one of those games, 1, 2, 3, and 4. But when it came down to the wire and push to shove, we seen the Denver Nuggets buckle down, make shots, and close out in the clutch. Obviously, thanks to Jamal Murray, that he actually made some stuff happen, and the Denver Nuggets ended up pulling off that game. But you can't really have any of that stuff going on when you're playing the Minnesota Timberwolves, because they're not going to take their foot off the gas in the third quarter or the fourth quarter to allow you to come back and win. If you go until the third quarter all the way to the fourth quarter and you're down by 10 against the Minnesota Timberwolves, best believe they're running it up. They're going to run the score up on you. So this is my concern with the Denver Nuggets. I'm favoring the Denver Nuggets in this series simply because obviously they got the experience, and I think they have the IQ and the talent on their roster to hang with the Timberwolves. But it's definitely going to be a battle. I can't see this series getting solved in less than 6 games, man. At a minimum, I think it's going to 6 games. I don't know who's the winner yet. I'll have that for you at a later time. I gotta look into this a little bit more. Here's some different things, see who's coming back from injury, see who is injured, who's okay. All of these different things, these different factors that's gonna go into it. But as of right now, I'm saying 6 games for sure within the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. And look, man, hey, if you hear something you agree with, you dislike, you want to just go ahead, throw a quick take out there, leave us a quick voicemail call, 219-413-9405. Go ahead, share your take on the Timberwolves versus the Nuggets game. And of course, I'll play it back on our next episode. But we got one voicemail caller here. He shot us a call at the end of last episode. So let's hear what he had to say. Let's do it.
Hey, I made it through the motivational speech. Damn. What up, though?
What's good? I love you too, man. Hey, look, I know who this is. I don't think he would mind if I said his name, but what he was talking about, saying he made it through the motivational speech, was at the end of the episode, man. You always get a treat. You just get something to end the episode off positive and just carry on with you. That being the case of if I was on here throwing a lot of hatred towards somebody, hating on somebody, or even if I was just on here, whatever, who knows? If you stick to the end, man, you're going to catch some gems. Sometimes it's simple, sometimes it's complex. Either way it go, I always say, if you hang all the way to the end, man, that's love. I appreciate that. So that person calling in, hey, he know I know who he is. I don't think he would care if y'all knew who he was, but I appreciate that, man. That means so much to me. Just hearing that type of feedback, knowing that, hey, at least somebody hung all the way out to the end of the episode. So look, man, we're gonna take a quick break here. We got some news for the run coming up. The NCAA is in the news, and also we have some NFL stuff, but Anthony Edwards is gonna be the talk of the town in this second half, man. Hey, we know what he did against the Phoenix Suns, so we got to talk about that just a little bit. But anyway, we're gonna take a quick break. It's halftime. Let's do it. All right, let's get into it, man. News for the run. Starting off with the NCAA, the SEC, Big Ten, and more Power 5 conferences have been developing a plan to share revenue with current collegiate athletes. Now, this idea came into play because of the antitrust lawsuit named House versus NCAA, and this argues the NCAA is breaking federal law by placing restrictions on how athletes make money from selling rights to their name, image, or likeness. It also claims that collegiate athletes are entitled to a share of television revenue as well as money for their resemblance appearing in video games from the past. Now, if the NCAA is found guilty, it said they'll owe over $4.2 billion. Apparently, NIL deals were a direct result of this lawsuit, and this is also why they're looking into this revenue share option because they want to avoid paying that $4.2 billion by any means necessary. But this is crazy, man. So I'll keep you guys updated on this. This is new information to me. I think it just broke. Probably about earlier today, but this is definitely interesting. We'll have more information about it as more information continues to pour out. But moving on to the NFL, Ezekiel Elliott will be making his return to Dallas next season. And the Cowboys and Ezekiel Elliott, they've agreed to a new deal pending on his physical, and the details of his contract have not yet been released because of that matter. Now, the NBA playoff picture, let's go ahead and give you guys a quick recap of what's going on and what's been happening. So the Oklahoma City Thunder, they eliminated the New Orleans Pelicans and they've advanced to the conference semifinals. The Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks, they're tied 2-2 right now. The Denver Nuggets, they obviously beat the Lakers 4-1 to advance to the conference semifinals. The Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat are battling it out right now, and the Celtics, they lead the Heat 3-1 in that series. The Orlando Magic and the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're tied 2-2, and that game is going to happen tonight for Game 5. The Milwaukee Bucks and the Indiana Pacers are not battling as much as we thought it would be. The Pacers, they're leading the Bucks 3-1. Obviously, as we know, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he suffered an injury right before the playoffs, and then Damian Lillard went down in the previous game. So this has just been all downhill for the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm predicting that the Indiana Pacers will definitely close this series out tonight. Now, the New York Knicks, as I mentioned, they have a chance to close out the series against the Philadelphia 76ers as they lead 3-1. And then the last team, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they beat down on the Phoenix Suns. They swept the Suns 4-0, and now they'll go on to play the Denver Nuggets in the conference semifinals. Now, hey, as the Denver Nuggets, as they advanced there, it's going to be good competition going against the Minnesota Timberwolves. But, this game against the Timberwolves and the Phoenix Suns, it was extremely entertaining, but one-sided. The star of the show here was Anthony Edwards, man. Anthony Edwards, he clearly proved, and he solved any doubt anybody had about him being the best shooting guard in the NBA. He's clearly the best shooting guard in the NBA without a doubt. The man averaged 31 points, 8 rebounds, and shot over 50% in that first round against the Phoenix Suns. Swept them. The man is consistent. He controls the game. And then my favorite part about him is he's a two-way star. This man plays defense and all of that. So not only is he averaging the most points at his position right now, but in the regular season, he was number 2 in points at his position. But the guy is so creative on the offensive end. And a lot of guys at this position, shooting guard and wing guards, and even point guards, a lot of them get their buckets in transition. But with Anthony Edwards, it's a little bit different, man. You don't see a bunch of transition buckets with Anthony Edwards. Obviously, he can get those, but the most impressive thing to me is the moves that he has. This man has legitimate moves to score you in isolation situations. This is the basketball that I miss seeing guards be able to play one-on-one. And I know it's not always good, but it's a damn good skill set to have. To me, it looks like he's done these moves so many times, bro. You can see the repetition in every move that he does. That's one of the differences about the differences. I'll even break that down really quick. One of the differences between having moves and just being able to score is that with the moves, it looks like you've done it multiple times. It looks smooth when you've done it. It looks like you've practiced it multiple times, repetition after repetition. Like you do it all the time. It's your go-to almost. When you see someone do a post spin fadeaway, you can kind of tell if they just kind of pulling that out their ass or if they've done it multiple times. Like Kobe, it's efficient. It looks smooth. It's clear that he's worked on it so many times. Jordan, it's clear he worked on it so many times. Anthony Edwards, damn near with every move that this man does, it's clear that he's worked on it so many times, bro. And this is why I love him, because like his game is smooth and it's not like he's just creating stuff, trying it on the fly. No, everything he does, he's practiced and it looks that way. And you could just tell, bro. So like that's something that sets him apart from a lot of shooting guards. And you also notice it with another elite shooting guard in Devin Booker. But the main thing that sets Anthony Edwards apart from Devin Booker is just the defensive end, because the guy's a two-way star. Seeing him take pride in playing 94 feet all game, like that is crazy. And Anthony Edwards didn't do it all game, but he did it in key moments where he needed to do it. And like it gave his team a spark. It gave his team a spark in energy. So like that makes a huge difference, taking on the challenge of guarding the best player on the other team's offense. Like that is crazy to me. You don't see that often in today's game. It looks like he takes this stuff personal, and I like it, man, because like it's a perfect blend of, you know, T-Mac, Kobe, Jordan. Like he's a blend of so many different good eras of basketball. And I think above all, that's why we all like Anthony Edwards, because he reminds us of our favorite players. And it's dope, bro. It's dope. So, you know, guys you once swore was the best in the league. Nah, that ain't necessarily the case anymore, bro. That ain't the case anymore. Bron, Steph Curry, KD, Paul George, Kawhi. Yeah, those guys are on the back end of their career, bro. They're good players. Don't get me wrong, but this is a young man's league now. This is a young man's league. This is up to Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, and all of them, because, you know, the teams that these guys are on, LeBron on the Lakers, they almost got swept first round. They ain't did nothing since he been there since the bubble. And KD going to another super team, not playing great, getting swept on another super team. Stephen Curry not even making the playoffs. Like, hey, man, it's a young man's game now. Leave it up to the young Bulls to really start going crazy. It's a lot of guys that have that hunger. And as you get older and you do something longer and longer and longer, you lose the hunger. You get used to it. You get a little complacent. And nobody will ever admit that. I doubt KD will ever admit that. I doubt LeBron will ever admit that. But you get complacent because you've been doing it for 15 plus years. Meanwhile, the young guys, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, Trae Young, all of these young stars coming in with something to prove, bro. They got that hunger behind them. And they ready to win now. And it's clear. So it's a young man's game. It's a young man's game. Look, man, hey, before I let y'all go, I'm going to leave you with one last positive note, man. And you got to go ahead and share this. So I'm going to leave you with this. Make sure you keep good character around you. And I'm going to mess up the quote if I say the quote because I didn't refresh on it. But if there's a bad apple sitting next to a good apple, eventually the bad apple is going to corrupt that good apple spirit. And the good apple is going to start, you know, getting a little damaged and stuff like that. And it's the same thing within human interactions, man. Like, you know, just relationships that we have with coworkers, with friends, romantic relationships. If that bad character is corrupting your good character, you got to get away. Don't let that negative energy take away and corrupt your good energy. So, you know, keep good company around you. Make sure you're around positive influences, good influences, and some sort of influence that's going to impact you in a positive way, because, you know, you can't let that negative tax continue to tax your emotion. So, you know, hey, man, I'm going to leave y'all with that. Interpret that however you want. I wish I could find the quote, but just, you know, hey, man, bad character corrupts good spirit. So I'm gonna leave you with that. That's all it is. That's how I'm gonna sum it up. Anyway, look, man, hey, that's all I got for you today. I appreciate you if you've been kicking it with me this whole time, hanging in there. Again, man, shoot me a quick take, shoot me a call, leave a comment, leave a voicemail, whatever you got to say, whatever you got to get it off your chest. Let me know who's going to win these upcoming series in the NBA or even other sports that's going on. I know you have Real Madrid. They played Bayern, and that's about to, I think, I didn't check the score of that. That's been going on as I've been recording, but that's going to be a good game. But hey, man, shoot me a quick take, 219-413-9405. Other than that, send this to a cousin, a brother, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, anyone you know who may enjoy the conversation. And look, man, I promise you they won't mind at most. They're just going to look at it and read it. So, hey, man, shoot this their way. Other than that, we'll be back later on next week. And until then, and so on, and so on, and so on.